My doctor wants me to become an addict. Okay, obviously I'm kidding. No doctor wants their patient to become an addict. However, my doctor did make it incredibly easy for me to become one if I so chose, or if I was the type of person to become addicted to pills. We'll get to the details of that soon enough. Before, I just want to mention the reason why I'm recording this video today and not yesterday as I originally planned on doing is because the new medication I started taking has an effect of causing drowsiness, and I literally spent 24 out of the last 36 hours sleeping. And that is not even counting all those extra hours where I was lying in bed, eyes closed, not thinking of anything, in that semi awake, semi asleep state. So, if I was to count that, the number would probably be at least 30, maybe a little more. Like it's insane. I've never slept so much in such like a short period of time. It's crazy. Like it's both bad and good. Bad because as a result of that, I wasn't able to eat as much as I should have, and eating is very important for me at the moment to try to regain weight. But the good thing is, when you're suffering, when your body's going through something very intense, when you're battling something like cancer, you need a lot of rest. Your body needs to be able to recover properly in order to fight that. So it's both good and bad. But anyway, we'll get to that later on. So let's start at the beginning and work our way forward. So 2 days ago, went to the hospital for my immunotherapy treatment like I do every 3 weeks. The plan, as I mentioned in my previous video, was get the treatment, then stop by the ER. If there's not too many people, wait, speak to a doctor, hopefully get some pills or pain medication that's stronger than Tylenol, so that while I'm in the hospital, at least I get a break. At least I can get rid of the pain for a while. And then when I leave, hopefully they can give me a prescription for something stronger than Tylenol that I can take whenever this type of situation arises, but that I don't have to take all the time because, this happens every, let's say, 3 to 6 months on average. So obviously I don't want to be on pain meds 24/7 just for something that happens a couple days, sometimes up to a week, every 3 to 6 months. It wouldn't make sense. So that was kind of the approach. But while I was there for my treatment, I'm like, you know what? Let me explain the situation to the nurse that's giving me the treatment and see what she thinks. As expected, she's like, I can't give you anything. Obviously, it's not my department. I'm here to give you the treatment. However, let me go ahead and call you a pivot nurse, explain the situation. That way she can speak to your doctor, and then he can go ahead and send a prescription to your pharmacy so you can get some relief, hopefully today, if not tomorrow. And the reason why I didn't do that myself was, well, for two reasons. First of all, I didn't know that I could get prescriptions from my doctor without actually meeting him. And I'm like, I just saw him a couple of days ago. He's a busy guy. My next appointment that's scheduled for like 3 weeks from now, it doesn't make sense to wait that time because by then the pain will be gone. And I don't know if I'll be able to have a meeting with him sooner. And second reason, every time these types of situations have arisen in the past, what I was told is like, sorry, there isn't really anything we can do. Manage it as best as you can with Tylenol. If it gets too intense, go to the ER and, they give you stronger meds to get rid of the pain. So that's why I didn't do it myself. So anyway, while I'm receiving my treatment, she goes ahead, calls my pivot nurse, explain the situation, asks her to, reach out to me so I can explain everything so she can then go ahead and speak to the doctor and get me a prescription. And then she also comes back and she's like, hey, I noticed that you're on you're getting treated by the pain clinic, which is another name for the palliative care unit. So she's like, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach out to them directly because they're usually the type of people who would take charge of this in this type of situation. So they're better suited. That way you don't have to go through a pivot nurse. It's going to be faster. So let me just give them a call and they'll call you back, and you can give them the information, and they will be able to give you a prescription, send it directly to your pharmacy so you can get the medication and the relief as quickly as possible. So that's what she did. And then at the end of the treatment, she's like, you know what? They haven't responded yet. I don't know how long it's going to take them for them to get back to you. So what I recommend is before you leave, head upstairs, explain the situation to them, and hopefully they can give you a prescription on the spot. So that's what I do. Head upstairs, explain the situation, speak to a couple people. Unfortunately, they don't have a doctor that can write a prescription working that day. However, the doctor that's treating me at the cancer rehab. So even though it's kind of part of the palliative care unit, it's technically a separate unit. It's in a separate building. But the doctor that's treating me for that is working that day. So they're like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, call him. He's going to call you, explain the situation to him. He's going to decide which medication is the best. He's going to send the prescription to your pharmacy. And that way, hopefully today, if not tomorrow, you'll be able to get the prescription and, get rid of that pain. So head home and wait for the doctor to call. A couple hours later, he goes ahead and calls. I explain the situation. He's like, all right, this is the medication I recommend. I'm going to write the prescription, send it to the pharmacy now. They should receive it, within the next hour. And then you can go ahead and get them to, deliver to you. So pharmacy eventually calls maybe half an hour later saying, hey, we got the prescription and want us to get it ready. Unfortunately, by then, it's past 5. So I'm like, all right, there's no way they can deliver tonight. I asked just to be safe, but as expected, they can't. So I'm like, all right, either they prepare it, I go get it now, which involves walking like 1.5 kilometers to go get it, and then walk 1.5 kilometers back, which really, really sucks on my leg because I've just walked to the, subway station, and then from the subway station to the hospital, and then back, and it was really intense on my leg. So I'm like, I don't know if I can handle like another 3 kilometers of walking in the state that I'm in. But at the same time, it's like, all right, if I don't go tonight, then I'm guaranteed another night of just being in pain and being exhausted and just having a crappy night. But I can get them to deliver tomorrow morning so I don't have to walk there physically. The other option is, all right, let's bear through the pain. I know it's going to suck, but at least I'll get the prescription tonight. And then I can start taking the new pills tonight. And hopefully it works, because that's the thing with new meds. You never know if it's going to work for you because every person is different. Every situation is different. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'm like, there is a chance that I could walk all the way there, get it, walk all the way back, take it, and it doesn't work and I still have a crappy night. But at this point, I'm like, the last 2 nights have sucked. The last 2 days have sucked. I just can't really take it anymore, so let's risk it. So went ahead, walked there, got the prescription, came back as expected. It sucked. It was very painful. But I was able, to start taking the new medication. And that's kind of where I realized that I'm like, oh, I can become an addict if I want to. And that's why I made that joke at the start of the video, because when I looked on the pill bottle, I'm like, all right, 50 pills per renewal. I can renew every 2 weeks. And holy crap, I have 100 more renewals. So literally, I have a 2-year supply of the exact type of drug that drug addicts take when they're addicted to pills. Oxycodone. So I have a 2-year supply, a total of 5,000 pills, if I wanted to, of course. So it would be very, very, very easy for me to become an addict if I wanted to. or if I was the type of person to, become addicted to drugs. Uh, so, in fact, I was talking with my friend and joking with him. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should just get all of them. In fact, get all these different prescriptions and just get all these different pills and then just become a drug dealer. Obviously, I wouldn't do that because, well, I don't want to encourage people to, you know, I don't want to feed their drug habits and everything. And I don't know, I've never been into drugs. I've never taken any drugs aside from recently medical drugs. So yeah, definitely not my type to become addicted or to become a drug dealer. So don't worry, those were all jokes. I'm just kidding. Don't call the cops on me. But yeah, I just found that funny. I'm like, I don't understand why I would need that amount of pills. It just doesn't make sense because like this is literally something that lasts between a couple days and a week and happens every 3 to 6 months. The last time it was this intense was end of last year when I got married. So I'm like, there is no way in hell, even if I live to be 100, that I would need 5,000 pills. It just does not make sense. Even 500 would be way too much. Like, it's more like, all right, I'd probably be good just with the 50 they gave me for, ever. So I don't understand why there's 100 renewals. But yeah, apparently I can become a drug addict if I want to. So that was kind of, the joke of the video. Good news is it does work. Not 100%. It doesn't fully get rid of the pain, but it changes it because by default, the pain is a very intense, very pronounced pain that it was in the foreground 24/7 when it happens. However, when I take the oxycodone, it transforms it into a dull background pain. So it's still there. I can still feel it. I'm aware of it. But it does not become my sole focus anymore. I can do other things. I can get some, relief from the pain. It's not like I'm just fighting it 24/7 and trying to ignore it, trying to not let it consume me. The downside is, and the pharmacist warned me when I got the medication. She's like, "Oh yeah, it can cause drowsiness." But I'm like, they've said that for other medications in the past, and it's just been like, "Oh, I'm a little more tired for a period during the day." Whatever, no big deal. So that's kind of what I was expecting. Turns out the drowsiness was way more intense than I expected. And that is why I spent 24 of the last 36 hours sleeping. And that's why I didn't record this video yesterday as I was planning to. Because I spent most of the day yesterday either sleeping or being so close to sleep that I'm more asleep than awake. I did not technically count that in those 24 hours that I calculated. If I was to count those, half asleep, half awake state as well, it's definitely more like 30, 32 hours out of 36. So drowsiness is way more intense than I was expecting. And another downside of that is that because, I'm sleeping most of the time, my appetite is even less than normal. And even when I do eat, I just can't eat as much as I normally would. And I'm not talking about normally before cancer and having, all these eating issues and appetite issues and everything. Like I'm talking about the normal, like, I don't have hunger, but I'm able to force myself to eat sufficiently to maintain my weight and sometimes start gaining a little weight. So that's definitely a bad thing because weight is a huge issue for me at the moment. It's very, very important that I either maintain my weight or ideally gain more weight. So I'm hoping it's just, all right, my body, like it's the first time I ever took this type of medication. My body isn't used to it. It's adjusting to this. So hopefully that's what it is. But it's like, if this happens again in the future and let's say it lasts a week and like during a week I'm sleeping most of the time and I can barely eat, that would be very, very, very bad. The upside, of course, is like, when you're fighting this intensity of pain, when you're fighting something as intense as cancer, when you're, struggling with all these things like coughing and breathing issues and, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you definitely need rest. Your body needs to rest and recover. So that is a very good thing. I feel like, even though I still feel tired because, that's just a side effect of the medication, but like at least I feel like, okay, I got the rest that I needed finally. I could literally like turn off this video right now, go back to bed and fall asleep right now. But, it's not like I'm weak from exhaustion, it's just like I'm just tired. In fact, that's the thing. It's like today is the 17-month anniversary or cancerversary. And I usually go live on those days. Unfortunately, because I'm so exhausted today and because my body's still adjusting to do this new medication, like I don't know if I'll be able to go live, and I don't want to announce that I'll go live and then not be able to do it and kind of like feel like I let people down. So for now, it's kind of like it might happen, it might not happen. If it does, it's probably gonna be last minute, like, hey, I'm going live in an hour. So, sorry if, this is last minute, and sorry if I'm not able to do it. It's just, it's all part of the journey. You never know what to expect. And it's just, it's life. So, yeah. Good news is I don't plan on becoming an addict or a drug dealer, but I could if I wanted to. It's always nice to have options. So anyway, that has been my story for the day. Hopefully, I'll be able to go back to making videos more regularly and I won't spend all of my time sleeping. And hopefully, the pain can pass soon so I can stop taking the pills and kind of go back to normal. But, like I was saying, you can't really control what happens. You just gotta go with it and make the best of it. So, making the best of it. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you either later today in the live, or if I can't because I'm too exhausted, at some point in the future. Assuming that I don't spend the next, 3 months sleeping.